know that we don't always get a thunderstorm out of every single rain shower. So the rain shower itself is just the beginning of the convective process. That's that towering cumulus phase where we can get precipitation, out of the bottom of the cloud. That's the beginning of the process, and that's for most of the aircraft that we fly, folks in here, rain shower is where we first see the first threats. So, I don't know how good this will show up on the screens up there, but would you fly into this supercell thunderstorm here? I'm flying along here, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to make a nice hard right turn right into this supercell thunderstorm. You don't do that because it looks threatening. You can visually see that's not something I want to challenge. It looks really ugly, really bad. And most of us, say 99.99% of us, would not do that unless we really have a death wish, because it looks threatening. Turns out that if you look at all the commercial aviation accidents, none of them have happened due to a supercell thunderstorm. Why? Because the crew sees it and doesn't want to fly in it. Let me make sure okay? So does this look threatening? Lots of blue sky around there. This is obviously taken from the ground, but ultimately, if you were up in the air, this would not look threatening at all. However, this will likely be the thing that kills you. My words to most of my students are, beware the benign. The benign thing is going to kill you because this looks inviting. Hey, the airport's right under that area. Hey, there's a little dark cloud, no problem. I'm going to dip right down in there and land, do my pattern, button up the airplane. Yeah, if the plane gets a little bit wet, that's great because they'll start cleaning some of the bugs off the airplane, no big deal. Let me show you something here. So what do we call that? That's a microburst. Out of a little rain shower. There was no lightning in that thing. You would not survive it, most likely. Lightning comes in two different flavors, chocolate and vanilla. Cloud to ground and intracloud. If everyone was around here on Wednesday with that storm and had a chance to look outside around 11 o'clock or so, or midnight, you noticed that there were a lot of intracloud lightning strikes. Well, it turns out that depending on where you're located in the country, there's actually a ratio of intracloud lightning to cloud to ground. So if you're in Florida or in most of the eastern half of the U.S., Midwest, Ohio, Tennessee valleys, that area, even down into Florida, most of the time you're going to have a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 ratio between intracloud and cloud to ground lightning strikes. But if you're out in the plains area, northern, southern, and central plains, or in the far west, it's a 10-to-1 ratio, 10 intracloud strikes to 1 cloud to ground strike. So it's dominant. And again, in fact, this particular cell that went through on Wednesday night into Thursday, early Thursday morning, was dominated by intracloud lightning strikes. In fact, when you get to a point, and we were able to easily recognize that just happened, is that in some cases, you get really high flash rates those are typically dominated by intracloud lightning. And again, often more than a 10-to-1 ratio, and it can be infinite in some very severe storms. And for a while, I could tell that most of the lightning strikes that were occurring with this mesoscale convective system went through were, in fact, most of them were, in fact, intracloud lightning strikes. So I believe it's important to be able to understand and see both. The problem is when you go to ADS-B, that particular system only tells you about cloud-to-ground strikes, not intracloud lightning. And many of these cells that develop as rain showers and develop into thunderstorms, most of the initial lightning strikes are actually intracloud strikes. So you want to be sure that you're looking at a complete picture. With FISB, unfortunately, you don't get that. So again, in a developing storm, intracloud often dominates the cell. Turns out that SiriusXM does provide the case where you see both intracloud and cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So you get the best of both worlds with that. You're not missing anything. So if you're flying along and you find out that you are in a situation where you're seeing a developing cell, and you may see something on your storm scope, but you're not seeing something on your FISB, most likely that's the case of an intracloud lightning strike.